Acting is more than just pretending. It's the art of becoming. Think about it. We've all been acting since the day that we were born. As kids, we played superheroes, teachers, moms, dads, you name it. We stepped into characters without even thinking. But true acting, that's when imagination meets truth. The art of acting is about holding up the mirror to life. It's about showing emotions people hide, telling stories that people are scared to tell, and imagining things that people are afraid to imagine, and reminding us that every laugh, every tear, and every awkward silence, it all matters. See, great acting is not just entertainment. It makes us feel. It makes us think. And sometimes, it makes us uncomfortable, and that's the point. But here's the fun fact about acting. It can be anything. It can be play, it's freedom, it's stepping into a role and asking, what would I do if this were really me? And sometimes, through those characters, we discover pieces of ourselves that we didn't even know existed. So the art of acting is not about faking. It's about finding the truth inside of the fiction. And if you stick around, we're going to explore that magic together. Because acting isn't just for the stage or the screen. It's for life.
Hi, yep. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Twist Jones, aka Cousin Twist on the It's Mental channel. And before we jump into anything further, let's introduce this young lady we have on the camera with us. Say where you are, where you from, and just a little bit about yourself.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Lady Perez. I am from Youngstown, Ohio, and I'm a full-time entertainer, which means I'm an actress, model, and singer. I've been singing since I was 3, been acting for over 10 years, and I've been modeling for about 6 years at this point.
Amen. There you have it, folks. Yes, Lady Perez. Now, I've been following this young lady, and she's very creative, very interesting. She has, like, a great portfolio. And yeah, she was supposed to come on the show, and I just wanted to apologize to her on air because it was my fault. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually in school and I work full time and I do the podcast and content creating. So it wasn't her, it was me. Just wanted to put that out. So let's just jump into the first question. Okay, let's be real. How do you stay mentally grounded after pretending to be someone for such a long time? How do you tap into being yourself again?
It's not so much that you're pretending to be someone. It's more so stepping into someone else's shoes and taking on the life lessons that this character has learned. And that's why I love acting, because you can take the lessons that you personally don't have to go through. You can live vicariously through another character and then apply them to your life for free. Seriously. And that's the best part of it. So I wouldn't look at it as pretending to be anything, because we are replays and imitations of life from different perspectives. And that's very important to note with acting.
Okay. I was not ready for that answer, but I wanted to be an actor a time or two. I feel like I don't know too much and I'm not going to act like it, but I do have like some people who have been inside theater before and been on like movies like Tubies and stuff, and they say get into a character that they might not have experienced firsthand. They would have to sit with someone who has been down that lane and, sit with them for a few weeks, a couple of days just to get that. The only thing I think about tapping into a new character, I don't know if you're familiar, like with the clip from the Wayans brothers when Marlon was pretending to be homeless and the guy who was really homeless, and then like he was trying to get this part. That's why he was doing it. And then actual guy who was homeless, like he was teaching Marlon in the hallway, like, no, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it. And he opened the door for the producers to see him act. But that's what I think about when you're trying to tap into another character. So how do you get yourself to cry on cue?
I am not a person who can cry on camera, so I use an aid. And a lot of actors actually can't cry on camera. So they use like a tear stick, which is overly expensive. I don't buy that. You can do just as well with a jar of Vicks and putting it right under your eye, or some Tiger Balm. Tiger Balm is extremely strong, so use less than a dime size amount, and I'm dead serious. And,
Oh, wow.
I actually had to use it for a film. They say it's supposed to be coming out later this year. It's called The Wealth of the Sinner by Michael Kleos. And in the very first 5 minutes, I'm crying on screen because my mother died and we're in the hospital. And it was just funny because like I tried to get in the mindset and stuff like that, but some people just, you can't do it without a helping agent. And I'm one of those people.
Wow. You know what? Over time, I thought we just got better with acting. It seems like no matter what stage, whether it's like a BT, like Tubi, mainstream, people seem to get the tailworks going these days. So I was like, wow, they got better. Because back in the day, they wouldn't even be crying. They'd just be in them serious scenes like, oh, Lord Jesus. Like, man, it's not even crying, man. So, like, I don't believe it. But now it just be... We got the scoop. There it is.
Well, I mean, there are different methods. So I believe it was, oh shoot, I see his face in my head, but I can't think. I'm so bad with names.
It's okay.
But I was watching, because I study a lot. There's this one actor that I watched. He said that what he does, he starts to fake cry. So he'll start almost acting like he's laughing to the point where he starts dry heaving, and then that'll get him to start crying naturally. And then they can start rolling the camera immediately. And then there's another method where instead of using the tear stick or even like the laughing until you cry method, there's also a point where they will start the scene, pause just before the actor is about to cry, put drops in the actor's eye, and then start it back up immediately.
Yeah.
So there's so many different methods.
Oh, wow. Wow. See, I was trying some old school stuff. When my dad used to beat me, like, I swore up and down if I wanted to be an actor, like I could just kind of like throw some spit on my face real fast and go like this. I thought it worked. I thought it worked. But yes, all right, so we got some scoop on that. Okay, next question. Okay, so what is something that you do for your mental health that would totally confuse the character, like that you would be playing?
Could you clarify that question a little bit?
I'm sorry about that. What do you do for yourself as far as mental health when you're not playing a character?
Okay, so there's this book that I've been reading by Caroline Regardos, and it's called The Personal Path to Virtue. And it's based off, I don't know if you read the Bible or not, but you know the passage about the Proverbs 31 woman?
Yes, I'm familiar with the Bible.
Her whole thing is about that, and it's basically a book and a workbook. She'll walk you through the different chapters to make the Proverbs 31 woman more tangible to you so that you can work through your daily life problems as a woman of God or even a wife and a mother and all that stuff. And it really just grounds you as a person so that you can be more compassionate towards people, but also be more strong in the boundaries that you want to create. And so that's part of my routine. I try to do it maybe like once a week or so if I'm not working like crazy. And then another thing that I love to do is that I always wake up at the same time. If I'm not working, let's say if I have a 6 a.m. shoot in Kentucky and I'm from Youngstown, so of course that's like a 6-hour drive, which means I'm hitting the road at midnight. If I'm not working and I'm at home and I know I'm going to be at home all day or until a certain time, I'm going to wake up at like 8 a.m. every single day so my body doesn't lose its circadian rhythm. I get myself and make myself a cup of tea. I do some of my little body exercises so I can keep up my upper body strength. And then also your mind is connected to your body. So when you take care of your body, you're also taking care of your mind. And I also changed my social media, who I follow, to be all positive messaging, as well as my YouTube. So I follow Impact Video Ministries. I follow a bunch of different pages. If you follow me, you see on my story a lot that I post a lot of scripture and motivational content. But it's not like reposting it. I'm just putting it on my story. I'm not actually putting it on my actual page. But yeah, it's just different things like that so I can subconsciously get in the mind frame of I'm going to be okay.
Absolutely. I think that's very important. You said a word that I was trying to catch still. It sounded like kind of universal, like you connected into the universe. You said it more in the beginning. You probably might not remember it either.
Was it the mind-body thing?
No. It was something with an S. You said it. It was a nice word too. It's like it's like a preparation he was doing, like to get ready. Come on,
circadian rhythm, is that the word?
Yeah. What is that?
Okay.
What's that about?
So your circadian rhythm is your body's natural when they wake up and when it goes to sleep. That's what it's called. And that's where some people are night owls, some people are early risers, and some people are like midday risers. And for me, I try to keep myself in the early morning riser thing so that the day doesn't just fall away from me. And then I also try to go to bed at the same time every night too.
Oh, so you're getting smarter today, people. Come on. Okay, let me ask. So how has acting helped you understanding your own emotions better?
Ooh, man. Okay, so acting has helped me a lot. I have always been different. Of course, anybody in my field could say that they felt the same way until they found more people like them. But as a kid, it was especially hard because I have a hard time, ironically, recognizing other emotions in other people. And so what I used to do is I would sit down and I would study psychology a lot to help me understand not only other people's emotions, but also my own. And I know for a lot of people, they don't have to go inside themselves and be like, okay, am I feeling angry? Am I sad today? What am I feeling? For me, I have to do that because it's just, emotions are just not normal for me to just get it like that. Of course, it's better now that I've done the work for years and years, but it's helped a lot because I can sit there and I can reread the scenario over and over and over again and peel back each layer every single time I'm reading the script. And I can be like, okay, this person is angry, but why are they angry? And then who caused this anger? And then, just adding different pieces to the puzzle to get a conclusive picture. Even if the scene is only 5 seconds long, it's important that I sit there and I dive in and I just look at all the layers beneath it. And then sometimes you get challenged as well with cold readings. Cold readings are when you have no chance to look at the script before you have to perform it. So you're essentially reading the script for the very first time while you're performing it, which can be nerve-wracking. Yeah, so I had an experience one time. I was actually in an acting class about a month before that Dora movie came out, and we were presented with the script for that Dora movie. It was the fight scene between Dora and Diego, and the casting director told me, like, here, are you ready to go? You want to read it? I was like, I guess I better be. And I realized halfway through reading the script that I had approached the whole cold reading wrong, and I was like, dang it.
Oh, wow.
So you have your funny moments, but it teaches me a lot, and I love the perspectives that I get from being able to walk in somebody else's shoes without having to incur any of the consequences. But then again, you can get the same thing by talking to your elders as well, which I do love to do a lot.
Wow, that's crazy. So I think I've seen like that form of acting on a stage where you have the script that tell you like the scene and you have to act it out right there with your other colleague. That's what it is?
Pretty much.
That's intense. I don't know if I want to do that.
I mean, you don't have to. There's so many different forms of acting. There's commercial acting, which I've done. Like you said, theater. The one that you specifically talked about, though, sounds a little bit more like improv. So,
yeah, like probably like improv. Freeze! You're about to get shot. Oh, yeah, probably. You did jump into a little bit of, like, you done commercial acting. I've seen some of your commercial clips. That was dope. Has anybody ever noticed you from a commercial? Oh, you that girl.
Yes. So when I did the Greenwood Chevrolet commercial, I was still in college, and I was actually at YSU doing this tax preparation class called VITA. It's a government program where students get to learn how to do other people's taxes, and they do it for the public for free, which people should 100% do. As I was doing people's taxes, there would be people, they would look up and they'd start pointing, and then all of a sudden they would come up to me and be like, hey, are you that girl from that one commercial? And I'm like, the Greenwood Chevrolet commercial? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's crazy because now, like, if I ever see commercials and now I see you, I'm gonna know it's fake. Man, that Medicaid shit is bullshit. I know that girl. I won't do that. I won't blow it out. Let's tap into when you're going into the acting gig and you get something that's serious and you've stayed in that character for so long, how do you detach from a character that was so intense? Like, how do you detox for yourself?
I'm going to reflect on when I did Joe and His Wife, that short film. That was hard for me double time because I had just recently lost my dad, and I was using the grief that I felt from losing my dad to channel the loss of a child grief I was supposed to portray on screen. And I remember we shot it in Pittsburgh, so I had about an hour and a half to drive home. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just drive in silence, and the silence just lets me transition naturally on the way home. Or I will I'll go somewhere. Let's say if I decide to go to Papa J's and get myself some gelato, and I'll just sit on the sidewalk and eat it for a little bit and listen to music. Or I could call a friend of mine to be on the phone with me. Like, whatever I need at the time is what I do. But if I don't have the words, I'm not going to force myself to talk to someone.
That's deep. I've heard actors, and then of course, university. We saw like The Dark Knight. Remember the Joker, the guy who played the Joker? Yeah, but some actors, they talk about these experiences of tapping into these different characters and becoming that character to the point that they can't tell whether they're being a character or themselves. I wonder, is like, what does actors do to tap out of that before it takes a toll on their mental health? And I think that's very important.
Yeah.
I know, just having like alter egos. I think about like somebody like Beyonce's son with Sasha Fierce. Like, so which one are we getting today? Are we getting a single ladies girl? Or we getting like the lemonade? I don't know. We don't know what's hurt out here. So I want to touch into a little bit more about the roles that you had. You said the commercial, and then we also heard you do theater. Have you done any? What does your movie catalog look like? How many movies have you done?
Just as like a leading character, right?
Any movie. Like, we want to come on. Go all your movies.
I've done a lot of background work, so there's a lot of different films that I've been in. Some of them I still can't talk about because they're not done or out yet. Fine. But one of the films that just came out that I did in 2023 was Queen of the Ring. And that was super interesting because even though I was just background, I learned so much about the movie stuff because up until that point, I hadn't actually worked on an official SAG set. SAG is like, a workers' union. It's basically that for actors so that they can make sure that they get paid livable wages and all that stuff. Okay. And that filming runs smoothly. And when I got on set, at the time, my then fiance doing his wrestling stuff, and he had been trying his hardest to get me to come and see some wrestling stuff and watch some wrestling stuff. And I was like, bro, I'm not interested. And it wasn't until I was on that set to where we had to be cheering for these wrestlers. Sometimes we had to do it silently, which is called pantomiming, when you're doing the action, but you're not letting the sound come out. So that way the actors can record their lines while the stuff is happening and there's no ongoing dialogue that's impeding on their performance. So that was interesting. But it was just, I don't know, the way that they did it made me interested just slightly more in wrestling, and it was great.
Oh man, I always wondered about that background stuff. Do you know, like, we were watching like a clip from someone sitting together in a dining room and then everyone's in the back like talking? I always just wonder what they're talking about, or if like someone's trying to be like, right. So it's like, are they really talking? So like, that must be like a process in its own to not say nothing or something. Have you ever done the background person where we probably could see you in the TV and look like you having a whole conversation in another world?
Possibly. I haven't seen any of the other films that I did background work in yet to like and spotted myself. I haven't done that yet. Maybe one of my family members will. But I don't doubt it. Like, I have been in that situation where I had to be talking to somebody and we're not actually talking. Oh, wait a minute. I have the perfect example. So my very, very first film was when I was 12 years old. And I just so happened to be at the Oh Wow Science Center for Kids in downtown Youngstown. My dad took me after church on Sunday. And I had on this red dress. And the director of the film, he wanted the children to be in the background just playing with a balloon. And and so if you look, the film is on YouTube. You'd have to turn your brightness all the way up to see me, but it's there, and you can see me just standing there playing with a balloon, and we're just, all the kids look so awkward because we're all collectively like, why are we just standing here on a wall playing with a balloon?
Blasted baby hunter, give me that little fella.
Oh my god, she's a kicker.
Yeah, I know.
Hey Rick, I think we're gonna be coming over to your house pretty soon.
Sure. For?
Well, we are renting a giant moving van.
You guys moving in?
No, we're just unloading some of the baby stuff that Tracy's out front.
I don't know about that.
You kidding? We need it.
Hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Save some baby stuff for us.
Nancy's 6 months behind, Terry. There'll be more than enough time.
Yeah, you're next.
Hey, it's a family reunion, huh? Yeah. Yeah, all of us.
And all of her.
And they shot that scene twice, because the second time they shot that scene, the kids were supposed to sit at tables and talk to each other, but they didn't think it was kid-like enough, so they had us do it again with the air balloons. I was like, this is gonna be funny.
Those old school clips, like if you really look in the back, you catch so many like different clips. Like, look, they must have ran that back. I am a person that likes to look at the people in the background to see if they make a mistake or look at the camera. Or like if they do the cutback scene to the other person talking, like they hat changed or they.
Yeah.
I look at stuff like that, but I always wonder, like if I was in the back and I had to be like an action, they say action, and I'm talking to someone, I'd probably be like, what do you think we should talk about? It just be smiling and stuff like, you saw the game yesterday? I don't know. I always felt like it'd be awkward, but I mean,
it is, and a lot of the time we're not actually saying anything at all. So, for example, you and I are having a conversation right now, but what it's really like is,
what the
yes, it's exactly like that.
I thought you was just frozen.
Nope, it's exactly like that, where it feels like you're in a Zoom meeting and the audio cut out. That's exactly what's happening.
I probably would laugh. Like, they'll probably have this thing cut a few times. I'm like, no, what the? That is cool. I guess you get used to it over time. Like that's cool. There's other forms. I'm going to get into another question, but like, I love when I'm talking to my actors out there. When you do they do like other techniques? Like I heard Cuba Goodman Jr.'s, his brother, Omar Goodman, was talking about when you getting into like serious, like dramatic scenes or like to build like chemistry between two hosts, like what they'll do is have them like spend time together probably for a week or so, or if it's like they need something done pronto for that scene, like they have them sit and kind of like eyeball each other, stare at each other, like the awkward stare for like a good 2 to 3 minutes to try to build chemistry there. Have you ever been in those type of settings? Like had to do that?
It depends on the project. I personally haven't had the luxury to spend time with my co-stars to where we can like hang out a week before the filming or anything like that, because people, especially as actors, we have unpredictable, always changing schedules. So it's almost impossible to get us to come together and do a couple things. We may be able to get a couple practices in, but not to the point where we're hanging out and we're getting all buddy and stuff like that. Maybe it's different in Hollywood because, they have actual studios and, they're not indie filmmakers or anything like that. But in my experience, the closest things that I've had was when I did The Wealth of the Sinner, and the main guy, his name is Austin. He and I were boyfriend and girlfriend, and we had this whole thing where they were highly in love with each other, but she wanted to get married, and he was like pussyfooting the whole time about marrying her. And they don't actually kiss or anything, but you wanted to convey that the chemistry is there. And so what he and I did, we just we sat down for 5 minutes before our scene. We were like, hey, is it okay if I touch you here? Is it okay if I touch you there? We literally went through the choreography of how we were going to interact with one another before each scene. and gave consent before we started each scene. So that way it wasn't like, oh, you caught me off guard, you know?
I felt like 50 Shades of Grey. Can I touch your hair? I'm just messing. But yeah, okay. So that's one form. Is there any other forms that you're familiar with that you got the experience as far as like preparing for a role?
I wouldn't say I've experienced it because I've worked with a lot of different indie people and things are typically the same way. But what I will say is that we are more blessed in the industry nowadays because there are now more intimacy coordinators, and intimacy coordinators allow you to do. You brought up 50 Shades of Grey, which is what reminded me of this, which keeps actors from feeling like they've been violated on set. So there's a whole bunch of different padding that they use so that the actors don't feel like they're being groped or anything like that. And there's even sometimes body doubles, and that's for high budget productions. But we're more blessed to have those things now because you could even fake a topless scene if you wanted to. You can buy some fake boobs off of Amazon and slap it on a girl and just be like, hey, you know, I mean, drag queens do it all the time. So there's so many different things.
I've heard about these gimmicks, and it's actually, no one's really showing their stuff. Yeah, no, I think even back then there was, I know Tyrese in one of the interviews, he talked about the professionalism between him and Taraji, doing Baby Boy. And he was just saying that they had like pads and stuff between their private parts, like that covered it, and and they were cool about it. I mean, so like what we really thought was really going on in there wasn't really going on. And it's stuff like that. It's like, yes, you do gotta keep your professionalism. How about like kissing scenes? Have you ever experienced that? Like, I noticed that it's becoming more like raw and authentic. Like back in the day, they would put their hand like this, so you can't see it on turn. And now it's like right there. Have you experienced a kissing scene yet?
Not yet. I was very close to getting a couple of parts where there would be kissing scenes, and then they changed it at the last second, usually because they found out that I was like married and stuff like that, or maybe the other actor wasn't totally comfortable, which is fine. My main thing is you need to have your hygiene, and I'm not French kissing you. We can do a little peck. We can make it look, intense. But I'm not French kissing you. We're not opening mouths. We're not exchanging spit. I don't know where you've been. Just nothing. Okay?
Right.
You better have a toothbrush on deck. I'm just saying.
Nah, I mean, that's cool. I know, like, in a lot of, like, I watched on YouTube reviews of actors who did not want to work with actors, but I guess the pay was good. And it seems like there's a lot of kissing scenes where actually when the film comes out, it's like, damn, that chemistry was really intense. We enjoyed it. But behind the scenes, they were really acting. Like, they really put some acting towards that. What do you wish that people knew about actors, the toll that it takes on your mental health?
We are real. We are not just out here putting on masks and putting on makeup and putting on costumes and parading around your TV screen. We are just as real as the accountant down the street doing your taxes. We are real people with real jobs, and without art, you have nothing in this world. If it wasn't for art, we wouldn't have the buildings or the clothes that we wear or the jewelry that we put on every day. If it wasn't for art, you wouldn't have any form of entertainment. So therefore, do not discredit artists when they tell you their price. And don't think that, at this point, I think it should not be at a certain level. But don't expect, if you are an independent artist, to grab actors for free, because they are donating their time, their money, their gas. They're going out and getting their own food to support what you are trying to put together. And all for what? Maybe at first, within the first year that you're an actor, you can get a reel done and all that stuff from the film that you make until you build up your stuff and build your network up a little bit more. But stop trying to take advantage of us. We are a real force of working human beings.
People. Sorry, I had to snap in. Do you feel sometimes like producers or people who are like agents, do you feel like they take advantage of actors who are not as polished as like the A-list and B-list celebrities?
100%. And a lot of the A-list and B-list celebrities have been groomed to act a certain way because they have been threatened the entire time that if they get to a certain point and they say the wrong thing, they'll remind you instantly that they can take them down within 2 seconds. And it's happened to people. If you do the research and you look at a whole bunch of stars who have just quote unquote disappeared over the years, it's because they ran into that one person who had total control over them. And because those people didn't have the tools or anybody to advocate for them and to find their own way, or even the benefits that we have now of social media, because that plays a huge role as well, those people get stuck and they get bound to those people. And as soon as they say the wrong thing, they take them out. And that's not cool. And especially for models get exploited the most because a lot of people view models as just a hanger. And I've literally worked in shows where somebody referred to us as hangers. And it's like, no, because without us, you would have to figure out some weird contraption to put your clothes down a runway. We can do something that AI can't. You can't replace us. You can't put that authenticity and artistic flair in a robot. Even if you program it, that's the only thing it'll know how to do. So you need to stop exploiting us because we are worth what we know we are worth.
Amen. You did say that earlier you did a little modeling too. What kind of modeling gigs did you have?
I have done some runway shows. I have also collaborated with some small stores in order to put out their things and stuff like that. But I also believe that modeling and acting go hand in hand because I honestly believe that all the arts go hand in hand. So a lot of people like to ask me what my main is, and I don't think that exists because when you're an artist, you do all of it. As a model, you are acting, but not in motion, but you're trying to capture the motion in one frame, which is extremely difficult to do. You're trying to tell an entire story in one frame. You know how difficult that is?
Yeah.
And then as an actor, you are modeling in motion. So you are taking the poise and the characteristics and all that stuff that you have to do with modeling and just adding words to it and explaining the story in real time that other people can watch back and look at, you know?
Yeah.
But with singing, entertainment, you're doing all of it because you're constructing a whole world with now colors and sounds and accompaniments of music. And then you have the costuming and all that stuff. You have this whole shebang. Taylor Swift and Beyonce are true entertainers because they understand that all of that goes together.
That's true. That's true. I used to think, coming from New York, once you put an outfit on, you model it right there.
Yes.
If it doesn't go good, you wear it another day because no one saw it. That's what I used to think. Let me ask this. It's like, any role that you've ever played, has it helped you? Your person, when you're not playing it, just playing that person, has it helped you as an individual?
Yes, all the time. There have been roles that have helped me with difficult relationships in my life, with family members, with friends. There have been times where I've gotten revelations. There's a certain scripture that I haven't quite understood until I got that role. And there's also been points where it's been like, ooh, I need to look at myself because if this character can be this way, why can't I? You know? So there's so much self-reflection. And I think that's where, when you mentioned earlier about actors getting lost and not knowing where they begin and the character ends, it's probably happening because they have found the humanistic qualities that have made the character more tangible to play. Yeah.
Cool.
And if you think about it, just think about it for a second, because you brought up the Joker. And if you think of the Joker, you would think that he's this deranged character that can't be understood and all this other stuff. But to someone, let's say if someone has a parent who's bipolar and now they have grown up with this parent, they can now look at their parent and be like, ooh, maybe it's because this person has gone through this, that, and the fifth, that they created this world that they now can't get out of, even though they may think that they want out of it. But in reality, if they got out of it, it would kill them. you know, and now I can, you know, you see, you got to find those humanistic qualities for each and every character. And it just makes the story that much better. And that's why I love the movie Joker, because they painted Joker in such a humanoid light that you just couldn't help but love him, even though he ultimately is supposed to be a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think the actor who was playing like him in The Rest in Peace, he had really tapped into that character so much that they said it impacted him later. Now, I don't know, because I believe he had some issues before him, but once he played the Joker after, it was hard for him to get back to like him alone. He really was just, he stayed in there and took a mental toll. Would you do like a biography film?
Yes.
Who would you like to play?
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. There's so many people. But 100% I would love to do, if they ever did Shaka Khan and a movie about Diana Ross, because I feel like they would challenge me in a way that I've never been challenged before. Believe it or not, I'm actually very, very introverted and modest. But I feel like if I were to play them, I would challenge myself in a way that would give me permission to walk into my full-on femininity without having to worry about the things that was drilled into me as a kid, where like being sexy is skank behavior and all this other crap. Like I would be able to walk into that and be like, march to the beat of your own drum, you're good.
Oh, wow. Those are two iconic roles. I would love that. Like, how would you prepare for that? Would you meet up with their children? Would you meet up with some of their friends? Would you go to some of their hangout spots and just sit there and be like, okay, what would Diana do? What would Shaka Khan do?
So what I typically do when I'm studying for roles, I study intensely. Oh, actually, let me walk you through how I was actually Michael Jackson of the Jackson 5 for The Magic of Motown. And even though I didn't have any like lines or anything, I was still portraying Michael Jackson on stage, singing and dancing every night. So what I did was I would stay up all hours of the night on YouTube, watching every single concert, every single movie, every single interview that he ever did. And I would try and find myself in this man and try and not just understand like the pop lock and all that stuff like that, but it was more so, what was he trying to convey on stage? What was he like behind closed doors? And I found that we were very similar, to where we're very shy behind everything, but when it comes to our craft, we are just ready to go. And so it was just like, as you learn who they are, it's easier to learn their characteristics on stage, which is what separates a lot of impersonators from the true studiers of Michael Jackson and stuff like that.
So what you're saying is that you got a mean moonwalk. That's what you're saying?
Not yet. I'm still training for it.
No, I used to love doing Mike my damn self until I got older. But no, that is crazy. You slipped that in there, Michael Jackson. Like, that must have been a time. When like, let's think of like, if there was a therapy session that you had that like had to be like a red carpet, when it comes to anxiety, like, and you pull out the red carpet for anxiety, how would you say anxiety is? Is it like the biggest part of mental health when it comes to acting, or is it the stress, or is it the depression, or is it all?
I'm gonna say it's all of it, because at the base of it all, I would say it is anxiety, only because you have to give yourself permission to authentically unmask yourself in front of the entire world, which is extremely hard to do. If you're autistic and you've been hiding it, you are choosing not to hide it on camera anymore. If you are depressed and you've been hiding it, you are choosing not to hide that anymore. And it builds such a huge anxiety, because you're essentially naked in front of the entire world. And you're like, this is me. Will you accept it? Even though you're portraying a totally different character, you still are finding a piece of yourself in this character. And that's what's scary, you know? And people are going to identify you with this character for the rest of your life, depending on how iconic this film or whatever it is. And you have to be okay with that. So if you're not okay with being totally vulnerable in front of the entire world, I would not advise getting into acting, but it does help you grow immensely. I'm telling you, it helps you grow immensely.
Okay. I like to ask this question, and you kind of just swung it in there. As an actor, as a public figure, do you feel like you have to pretend you're okay when you're not okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And is it easier because you're an actor?
Oh no, it's much harder. Well, I can't say that because I haven't walked in somebody else's shoes, but I will reflect on when my dad passed away. And it was the worst experience of my life, surprisingly, not because my dad died, but because of all the people that I had to pretend to be this version of myself that wasn't even authentic to who I was at the time. And there was a small group of people that were actually okay with who I was, who was a confused little girl who just lost her best friend, and now she has to cope with A, B, C, and D, and where the noodles are in her brain. And then there was the rest of the world who was like, oh, well, how dare she react like this? How dare she say this? How dare she say that? How dare she not tell me this and not tell me that? And da-da-da-da-da. And it was just such a disgusting experience. And I felt like I had to wear a mask the entire time. And my family could tell you I was crying almost every single night, even though on social media and to my family and certain friends of mine, I'd act like I was okay. But that's why I'm such a huge advocate for, we have to create a grief culture to where nobody should have to pretend to be okay if they're not. I'm not a very physical touch person. And what a lot of people would try and do during that time was they would try and force themselves onto me, like try and hug me and do this and that. And I would like have to push them away, and then they would get offended. And I'd be like, I don't want this. I don't want you touching me. Please stop. Or I would have people showing up randomly at my house, and I'd have to tell people, this is not okay. If you did not tell me that you wanted to come over and I did not give you the permission to come over, you should not be showing up at my doorstep. I know you want to help. I know you want to be kind, but you need to ask me permission first. Nothing has changed. I don't understand why it's so hard for people to grasp that when somebody passes away, but that's why it was difficult for me. And I've grown from it. Nowadays, if I'm not pleased with something, as we explored earlier, my face will tell you before I get the words out. And the reason why that is because I never want to say anything that I will regret later. So I always try and find the words so that I'm not being untrue to myself and deflecting what the other person is doing, but also so I'm not hurting them on purpose.
I empathize with that. When my dad passed, way before that, I never really got with the I'm sorry for your loss and any of that stuff. I'm here if you need me, if there's anything, because I feel like it's a nice gesture that universally we've come into becoming comfortable with. It sounds good, it rolls off, but I know the intention is pure, but after a few, those people who said they were going to be there goes back to regular life.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, I don't think you really genuinely know what you're sorry for. What are you sorry for? And I had to ask my sister, just why do people do that? And now it's me that's going through it. And I was I don't want people to say sorry for what? So I kind of isolated from it. And me too, I'm a person that's I'm private. I love secrecy. I'm introverted. Introvert people as it is, it hypens if something intense like that happens, right? So I too was just I didn't want people in my space, but I do understand and I'm sure we both can relate on that. When someone else is going, it seems like it's just natural to be sorry for your loss, but I try not to say it. Mm-hmm. I just okay, prayers up or something. I just don't. I don't know. I feel I try to give people grace in those times because I know they don't mean anything by it. And I found myself being snappy. The fuck? Don't be sorry. What do you don't know what you're sorry for. There's nothing to be sorry for. You lived a good life. If anything, be happy. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure it sounds better than saying, well, congratulations, they're going to heaven and shit. But I understand that part. We're getting close to rapping, so I want to jump into other things too and get a little bit more like a lighter note. You did Apollo. Right? Congratulations on that. I saw you touch the bar or something. Like, that's generations, especially, you know, people of our culture. Like, that's a big deal. Growing up with the Apollo, like, a few blocks down, like, I always thought that I would see, like, famous people, which I have, not all. What was that experience like, being on that stage, knowing all of the people who blessed that stage before you?
I went through a couple of different stages. So leading up to it was more daunting than actually doing it itself, which is kind of weird to say. But I feel like the only reason I can say that is because I have been an entertainer for X amount of years, you know, so I'm used to being on stages. There is a moment when you first get the thing, like my acceptance video when I was totally freaking out. That was a real thing. I was just like bouncing off the walls all week. You could not get me to shut up about it. And then you had other people. I was thankful that I had access to people who have actually not only been on the Apollo before, but have actually won the Apollo before. And they were my guide through the whole process, and they told me exactly what to expect. And I was like, okay, I can calm down a little bit, cool. And you get wrapped up in the prestige for a little bit, but then I had to go in and remind myself, like, no, this is just another stage. You come on this stage and you do you. Because if I put this on a too high of a pedestal, I'm going to create something to where I'm going to feel like I'm not good enough, and it's going to show up on stage. So I didn't want to do that. And so I was like, all right, let me just, you know, forget that Michael Jackson, Lauryn Hill, and Ella Fitzgerald were all here. Let's just forget.
Which is tough, yeah.
And they do make you forget about it. When you get there at the Apollo, you come downstairs, everybody congregates in the little area. You can take your little pictures under the Apollo sign like I did. And then there's two people, Miss Kathy and one other guy. They give you the rundown of how the show is going to go. They tell you if the people start booing, keep going until someone takes you off stage. And that's what happened to me. I got on stage unexpectedly. I was the opening act for the adult portion because the first two acts just dropped out suddenly. And I guess the audience didn't like that my song was too slow, so they started booing me. But then when it got to the chorus, that's when they started cheering for me and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm not a bad singer. It was just not the right song. And it was like, I literally had to block them out when they started booing in order to keep going. Because I was like, just do your thing. They're not even here.
Right. Like, do you have a second chance to get on Apollo if you got booed?
Yes.
Like, would they let you come again? Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
I have to audition again.
Well, I love that full disclosure. Like, you got to feel both. You got to feel how it felt to be booed and got cheered. So I'll take it as a Sandman didn't have to come out for you. I'll be upset. Like, oh, get up out of here, Sandman. Oh man, that's a great experience. I hope that like anybody like in life get to experience something so special like that. No matter what it is, whether it's the Apollo or whether like you just wanted to visit a state that had a statue of someone that you're inspired by, anything like that, you know, just be in the same atmosphere as someone who's no longer here but stood in that spot. Like that's a beautiful thing. I've always thought about being on the Apollo, but I always thought about getting booed. I'm like, I ain't trying to get booed up here. And like, especially like today, like, just being real, like, don't be this guy. No, and you absolutely are a beautiful singer. I've heard like a little bit of your vocals.
People down here think I'm crazy, but I don't care.
When I first like had to get to watch, just skimming through stuff, trying to figure things out. I saw you on this young ladies platform called On Nene. I like to watch it sometimes.
And Nene Show, hey! On my honor, I will try. There's a duty to be done, and I say
I love her.
Yeah, she's such a beautiful soul. And then like I've seen some of her things. For those of you who don't know, she does kids YouTube. And she has a very educational segment for them. And I've talked to her a few times, which is nice. Maybe one day we could like get it together. I'm not sure, but
Absolutely.
I do know I've seen you on there because I was I was just skimming through it. That's how I caught it, and then like just her intro. And then she was doing like a segment where she had different individuals that was singing to the kids. And I seen you singing. And I was like, oh, I like this. This is cool. Yeah, all right. So then like that's what made me dig a little bit. And then I seen that you actually had other things going on. You had commercials, you had acting, you had singing, theater. We didn't get to touch a little bit on theater. I won't touch on this so much because I know we so much, and then we started a little later. But like I really enjoyed theater. I feel like that part is that like you get real reactions, people watching you. You know, after you get to come on stage instead of having to wait for Rotten Tomatoes, you can take a bow and they can clap for you right there or boo you, whichever one they want. But I want to give you your flowers, and I just want to say I hope you keep going. I am watching you. I always watch you. I admire what you do, especially because like I know that you're on the grind, and I see where you can go. And I know you get there, and when you get there, we're going to be watching you on the big screen. That's what I love to see. I love to see that. Like, I see your posts. I see how you moving. And, like, I love to see it. I love to see it. And you know where you're going. So that's a beautiful thing. And I think as humans, we forget that, like, even when you're acting, you might not be portraying yourself, but you're portraying an image of someone out there. So it's still real authentic. Like, we have to see something in order to get that type of personality. So let me ask you, before closing out, what is some tips that you would like to give someone out there that's becoming an aspiring actress, actor, wants to get into the performing arts? What are some things that you want to give them as far as advice when it comes to locking in and keeping their mental together?
I would like to say that you never know, no matter how big or how small of what you're doing, how deeply it will impact someone. For example, if there wasn't a Dorothy Dandridge on the big screen, we would not have a Halle Berry today, which means we would not have the first Black woman to win, I believe it was the Oscar.
Yes.
Yes. And the only woman to win an Oscar at this point, the only Black woman to win an Oscar. Still, we would not have that. And Halle Berry has done so much, inspired so many women. Can you imagine the other women that would not be where they are right now if Halle Berry wasn't where she is right now? So think of the butterfly effect every time you do something. And every time you get a no, it's only because the yes that is going to happen for you is so much better than the no that you received. You may have wanted that one commercial so bad, but what if there's a movie or a TV series to where you're a guaranteed regular on the show waiting around the corner for you? Do not let these no's devastate you, because as an actor, actually, you're lucky if you get a no. Most of the time, you just get ignored. But with all the no's, just know that your yes is going to be so worth it. And it's just right there. So don't give up.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was a very powerful piece. That was very powerful. And now, like I said, my girl, Lady Perez, this almost didn't happen. It's because of me. I am beating myself up, and I'm glad you had that patience. So, you know how we like to do out here. I'll just take you guys out. So I'll say, that was another episode. Let's talk about it. And don't forget to tune in as the episodes drop. And you can catch clips on YouTube. You can catch clips on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, and X. So don't forget to tune in on those if you're not really on the YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that like when we talk about this thing, I like to always keep it mental with us. So like I like to say, before it's reality, it's mental. Love y'all, miss y'all, peace.
Bye.